Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome to I'll Hang Up and Listen Sabres Matinee Mayhem here on a Sunday afternoon. In the midst of football, the Buffalo Sabres put on a shellacking against the Colorado Avalanche, 4-0. UPL records his 2 goalies, 1 Mike shutout, the first of his career. Hurls, we had a lot of conversation about Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, not just on our show, but we saw it on Twitter, we saw it online. People wanting to fire him into the sun for, what happened this past game where, Comrie gets hurt and, he goes in and they get a couple by him and the Sabres end up losing. But comes back strong. He's 8-0-1 the goat head jersey. Sabres now, 12-1-1 in the goat head jersey?
12-1-1.
When's the petition start, bud? When do we just
I've already started it. I think I actually might go to change.org and do an actual petition and try to get as many signatures as possible and send it to the Sabres to make it
up. There it is.
It's getting to the point where
an OG goat head right there.
It's getting to the point where it's like it's not even a coincidence anymore. They just play better. Like, it really does not make sense. But they are a different team when they wear this jersey. For whatever reason, if they had worn the blue jerseys today, I don't know if they win the game.
I don't disagree with you, man. Like, it's it's wild. Like, how
I do not get it.
How bad they are at home, for instance, over the last best year, calendar year, how bad they've been at home. But if you look at their home record in those jerseys, it's damn near perfect.
Yeah,
you're perfect.
Well, they only wear them at home. It's getting to the point where it seems like they're more confident. They play faster. They have a little bit more of an edge. It seems like every time Luukkonen wears it, he is a different goalie. It's really getting borderline ridiculous, but I'm not going to complain. Unfortunately, just like we clamored for the blue jerseys after the navy blues for years, I don't think this is actually going to happen. So I think our wishes are gonna go in vain, unfortunately. But it is nice that we get 13 more games of it this season, so we can hang our hats on that, and hopefully they actually improve wearing the blue jerseys. I really don't think it's as big of a deal as we're making it out to be. I think it's a cool thing for the fans, and it's really nice to have. But at the same time, like, what you're wearing should not affect how you play. Getting back to the team a little bit. They are win-loss, 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 win-loss. Or no, win-loss, 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 win-loss in their past 6 games.
Yes.
And I would argue, going back to the Islanders game, they easily could have been 5-0 in the past 5 games. That Montreal game obviously was very strange. Jake Allen stood on his head. He stood on his head again last night against the Jets, so he's just having a good season. And as we said, if Comrie doesn't go down against the Devils and Luukkonen doesn't have to come in cold, they easily could have won that Devils game. So this team, after a slow start against 2 defensively sound teams, is coming into its own a little bit. And they're playing much better hockey, and it's really, really encouraging.
I'm looking at a quote right now from Brian Koziel. UPL says he's a better goalie this season. He's stronger, quicker, and says his positioning has been his most improved thing. Says it has helped him read the players, read the play better. Sorry. And I tend to agree. I always say, and I still think this to an extent, even though it's improved, one of the more chaotic thing is his movement. Sometimes he does, overextend himself and to get himself out of position. But I mean, that's the good thing about his size. Is even when he does do that, his size helps him. I think that first save of the second period is a perfect example. Like, he wasn't exactly in position. Puck kind of pops out in front of him, and he's massive, and it just hit him, and it dropped down right between his legs. He gets down and covers it. But yeah, I have to agree with all those points. And I've always said on this show is that his biggest issue is upstairs. It's not a physical ability, because we saw it at the OHL level. The kid is an athletic freak. He's big. He has health issues. Yes, the double labor surgery isn't, doesn't help his case in terms of longevity, but he's an athletic freak. And I just think that if you give this kid time, he's going to develop into that 1B situation that we want here, that we talked about on this show so many times, is having that 1A 1B situation. Because I don't think it's I mean, Levi's the future. Like, he is. He's the future starting goaltender of this team. We all know it. But having a UPL play to this level, I mean, yeah, I'd be fine having him get 25 to 30 starts a year, 100% if he plays like that.
As you were talking about UPL, it's funny because, like, he's the opposite of Devin Levi. Like, I think we're all very confident in his mental ability. We're all confident in his quickness. Yeah. But the one thing that his knock on him is his size. The fact that he is a smaller goaltender and he does get beat cleanly every so often. So I just think, like, when you see a game like this from Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, you see the flashes that we know are there. You saw him in that stretch early this year, but late last season, or in the middle of last season, where I think he won 4 straight starts on that West Coast swing. I think it was in Arizona, Vegas, and Colorado. He's actually beaten the Avs twice in this calendar year. So the ceiling is really high, but the floor isn't as high as Devin Levi's is at this moment. But while he's injured, while he's unable to play, he's all we got left. And at this point, like, given that Levi couldn't even back up today, I don't necessarily think he's ready for Wednesday in Philadelphia. So, and who knows? I haven't heard an update on Comrie yet, but it didn't look good. So we're potentially getting to a point where Luukkonen might be the everyday starter for the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Yeah. And that, I mean, there's a back-to-back on Friday and Saturday. You have to imagine, hopefully Levi's healthy for one of those. We'll see what happens. We're not getting much information on it. The original designation was day-to-day, but it's been over a week now, almost a week and a half. So it could be something more serious than we've been led to believe. But what I saw from UPL today, I really, really liked. You mentioned a save where he got big enough and the puck hit him. My favorite save was when, I think it was the second period, an Avalanche player goes across the net and he follows him the whole way. And obviously his movement isn't as quick as Levi's, or he's not as good post to post. But he gets big and he puts his glove up and he follows him all the way across the crease. I think it was the save of the game on the broadcast.
Yep, it was a great save. Was that on Rantanen too?
I think it might have been. It's a really impressive save. On Rantanen. Yeah, it's a really, really impressive save, and it showed his positioning that he talked about and his awareness throughout the game. So, yeah, I was really encouraged by what I saw tonight, and hopefully he can keep it going because, as we said, consistency has been his biggest thing. He has not been able to put, aside from in the middle of last season, a few games together. But if he gets this confidence, and as you said, it can be mental, we can get to a point where he could be a starter in the near to distant future.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. And having 2 capable goalies is a good thing to have. Granted, again, Eric Comrie out for a few weeks. I mean, eventually, when Eric comes back, because he was playing well when he left, and the biggest thing with Luukkonen is consistency. Because we've seen, I would say this is the best performance of his career. Like, he's had like 40.
First shutout of his career.
He's had 40. He's had like 40 plus save games before where he's gotten wins. But I would say this game in particular against this team, a team that was honestly, I think, desperate to get a win. They didn't want to get shut out again. However, I did feel that Colorado wasn't as engaged and as intense as Buffalo today. Sorry. And we'll talk about that in a minute. One key example of that. But yeah, I think if we get the consistency out of him, he needs to be consistent. He needs to string games together. I don't think he's really had a stint where he strung 3, 4, 5, 6 games in a row where it was like, damn, man, like this kid is legit. Because right now, up until today, like he's proven to be a 1B, a guy who could start 1 every 4 and give you a good game. So let's keep this up, UPL.
I mean, he was Devin Levi before Devin Levi in the eyes of Sabres fans.
Yes.
For years, like UPL, 6K, I call him, Luke, like he was the future of the Sabres goaltending, like for a long time. And we were all so excited. Obviously, you saw what he did in the OHL and the World Juniors when they won for Finland back in 2018. Like he was the future until the Sabres made that trade for Devin Levi. So he has a lot to prove. And I think him starting the year as the third goalie probably lit a fire under his ass a little bit. And I think he knows that he needs to perform to stay on this team.
Yeah.
And even if he doesn't stay on this team, like he could be a really good trade piece for a team like Colorado that doesn't have that great of goaltending. Like, I don't think they're like necessarily super confident in Alexander Grigoriev. Like, a lot of teams have goaltending issues right now, and the Sabres potentially, when they're healthy, have 3 NHL goalies on their roster, which is a good problem to have, as we've seen, because injuries happen. So I hope he can keep it up. The Flyers are off to a good start this year. Carter Hart, I was just looking up his numbers. He's had a really strong start to the year. He's at a 2.25 and a 9.24.
And that's a guy too that you can look at and kind of see like, well, yeah, perfect example of a guy who's taken some time to develop because he came in hot right into the league, rookie of the year numbers, and then really cooled off quite a bit, and people wanted him out of Philly. And now, again, he's right back at it. Like,
I mean, he has the talent, and as we talk about, like sometimes it can be mental. Like the Flyers haven't been good in a really long time.
To your point about Juryev, he actually is up until today. He was 7 games played, 6 wins.
Yeah, well, I do at least partially factor in, given how good of a team it is. They obviously had a really, really good start to the year. He had a good start himself, but I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying the Sabres are.
No. But I, to your point, I'm just stating like, UPL is a trade piece. Like I could definitely see him going to a team like Minnesota, who, actually, no, probably not Minnesota. No, they have Gustafsson.
And Fleury.
And Fleury. Well, Fleury, I mean, he's just getting older. That's the thing.
Sure, for sure.
He's going to retire soon. Yeah, that's a tough call. Like, where would UPL be a good fit?
I mean, maybe Tampa. Like if Vasilevsky takes longer than they thought, and
I think he wants to go somewhere where he's going to be a long term.
Yeah, I mean,
not just a season.
Yeah, well, he's not going to get to choose.
Well, no, I know, but I'm thinking of teams that would need a long-term solution, not just a guy.
Maybe the Ducks.
John Gibson. Yeah, he's getting older.
This is what I'm saying, though. Like, if you were to bring in a guy like John Gibson, like I don't know what the Sabres trade for.
I think Vancouver would be a good spot as a 1B situation for him.
Yeah, I mean, but my thing is, I don't hate the possibility of him staying with the Sabres long term.
Neither do I. No, neither do I.
Especially if he can show some consistency, and this is an opportunity for him right now, given the injuries, given that Devin Levi didn't necessarily have the best start to the year, and he does have the injury right now. Like that Flyers game on Wednesday is another huge game for the team to get back to 500, to get on their first winning streak of the year, to get out of this win-loss pattern. It's a team that wasn't necessarily expected to be really good this year, but they're off to a good start. And it's a huge game on the road on Wednesday. So I think it's good for them to have 2 days off. They've typically played well on the road, and they go into Philadelphia, and then they go back to Buffalo on Friday night. So it's a huge opportunity for him, and I really do hope he takes advantage of it.
Yeah. One thing I do definitely want to touch on too, There was a lot of back and forth between not just between myself, but just hockey Twitter in general. The hit on Cale Makar, which I don't really think was a hit. I felt like they were just getting ready to curl around the net, and essentially Kyle put a little bit of his weight at the lower back area of Makar. Makar was weak on his skates and chicken winged and fell into the boards. The amount of people that just say this is such a dirty play, like I don't really view it as a dirty play. I don't know about you, Hurls, and I'll bring up the replay here momentarily, but that whole situation, how did you feel?
So I think it's at least partially because of the player. It's Cale Makar.
Yes.
You're gonna have national analysts looking at that play and forming an opinion just because of his name. Yeah, exactly. So if it was Samuel Girard, I don't think there would have been nearly as big of an uproar.
No.
I think some of the outrage was because potentially it could have been a long-term injury. I think that, as you said,
the third though.
I know. I'm saying when he went out.
Yeah.
It looked bad. So I think some of the outrage, you saw national NHL reporters and obviously Avalanche fans and everyone else. But the qualification was that Kyle Okposo is not a dirty player. He's someone that's well respected around the league. It's not something he would ever do intentionally, even if he did do it in this case. I think that, maybe he shouldn't have done that. But at the same time, it wasn't egregious. It wasn't suspension.
No, it wasn't.
People are,
comes in from behind there.
I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to bring up the replay. But no, to your point, yes, it is Kyle Okposo. He's, in terms of what players kind of view the Sabres and certain Sabres players around the league. I think Kyle is probably one of the most respected, and he's not a guy, especially Kyle with his injury history, that you're going to look at. It's like, oh yeah, he's definitely taking a liberty there with Makar from behind. No, I think he was forechecking hard. I thought Cal, to Razor's point on the broadcast, was dogging it to the puck to go to curl around the back of the net, and Kyle Okposo of all players, essentially was trying to beat him to that puck, get position on him to curl behind the net. And in order to push or hit somebody, you have to extend your arms. He didn't do that. It was more or less, he essentially had his hand on his lower back. He never extended. And Cale Makar at the time was so weak on his feet and so weak on his skates that he just chicken winged and fell. And it's unfortunate that it.
He lost an edge.
Exactly.
So but I don't necessarily Rob Ray was giving Makar shit. I don't necessarily he was potentially a little bit sluggish getting back, but I don't think that was his fault either. I really think that it was just an unfortunate play. It happens in the game of hockey sometimes. So I don't know. Obviously, we're a little bit biased.
Yes.
I think Avalanche fans are a little bit biased. I think NHL reporters are a little bit biased because they want Cale Makar to be playing. So all in all, it's an unfortunate play. Thankfully, he didn't get hurt, and we can all move on.
I'm trying to bring this up to the point where we won't get yelled at on YouTube for playing on another team's broadcast on our show. Let me see if I can bring this up so those who are watching can see exactly what we're talking about. I don't know how to mute the audio once you bring something up. Let me see. All right. Let's see. Oh, I guess we're going to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Unless I can mute it.
Makar goes right down the tunnel.
Yeah, you see it right there.
Not get hurt or anything, but Makar takes some looks.
I just don't see.
Not able to brace himself.
I personally can't see any video right now.
Oh, you can't? Okay, hold on one second. Sorry for the. Oh, here we go. As you can see right there, it doesn't look to me. That doesn't look like a guy trying to extend his body.
He lost his edge on his left skate even before Okposo pushes him.
Yeah,
his left skate was diagonal to the ice. It's a slight nudge. It really is.
It's nothing. It really is nothing. There's nothing dirty about that.
And he kind of like
if you look at his right skate, it's even already going down.
Yeah, I mean,
look at this right here. Before he's even like nudging him,
he kind of sold it too. Like he sold it. Like he, in my opinion, kind of LeBron James this moment. Like we've seen it from Josh Allen on roughing the passer calls. I think, obviously, he's in an awkward position with his right knee, and thankfully he didn't get hurt.
Yeah.
But that was not a violent play.
No.
It wasn't even a dangerous play. It just happened. So
I'm all in favor of getting that particular play when it is egregious and violent out of the game because it is one of the more dangerous plays in hockey.
It wasn't even boarding.
No, but boarding, you have to extend your arms. There has to be some type of an extension of your arms. Like I had one guy losing his mind on my timeline. Oh, it's a cross check, and then it was boarding. Like, dude, take your pick. Is it cross checking or boarding? Because I didn't know you could cross check somebody with your forearm. Because that's the only part of his body that was on Makar was his forearm.
Yeah, well, you know where we stand. We don't necessarily need to entertain the people. Like it's the Brady Tkachuk situation. Like Senators fans are going to think that's part of fighting. Avalanche fans are going to think that their star player was put in a dirty position. And so are national NHL reporters because they're biased towards having him in the game. If that happened to Darlene, we probably would be pretty upset.
Yeah, I'd be upset, but I just know, for me personally, I know in that situation, I would look at that and be like, so there has to be some accountability on Darlene's part there. Just like there has to be some accountability.
I mean, I wouldn't call for a suspension.
No,
but at the same time, like
I would have been fine. I would have been fine if they called a penalty on that poster there.
Yeah,
on name value. I'd have been fine with it. Okay.
I don't even know what the penalty is. Interference. He had the puck.
I mean, it's not like me saying, oh, yeah, it should have been a penalty. If they called a penalty just because of name value, the player who it is, I mean, okay, sure. Same thing that happened to Darlene, okay, sure.
Like, it would have to be something like unsportsmanlike conduct. Like, it would have to be like, because that's a dangerous, it's a potentially dangerous play in an unfortunate situation, but like it's on both of them. So I don't know. I don't think we need to belabor the point.
From Steve Olth, great performance all around. UPL with the deserved shutout. But those refs, man, they were bad. Agreed. I think the refereeing officiating again,
Speaking of the refs, the Sabres penalty kill is incredible.
Yes.
So
they've been
as much as we
out there has been incredible. Jordan Greenway, Gergensons, no matter which four-man unit they throw out there, they've been great.
They're getting sticks in passing lanes. They're breaking up passes. They are aggressive. Mm-hmm. You remember the penalty kill last year. It was absolutely horrible.
Yes.
But we give the coaching a little bit. It's not the best coaching staff in the NHL by any means.
Yeah.
But
let's not go there.
It does appear that they've done a good job on the penalty kill.
Yes, penalty kill has been phenomenal.
And we can acknowledge that while at the same time saying that the power play has been really bad.
So bad. So bad.
So for them to get to the next level in terms of consistency as a team, obviously they need to capitalize on the power play a little bit more. I don't know what the numbers are, but they have to be at the bottom of the league. I think they've scored like 3 power play goals this season.
Bottom 5, bottom 8.
Yeah, and the penalty kill is probably at the top. Yeah. So I saw someone say like being plus at 5-on-5, plus on the penalty kill, and having a mid to below average power play isn't the worst thing in the world because it is such a short part of the game. You don't get that many power plays. Mm-hmm. But it's concerning, and they need to figure something out. They need to be a little bit more creative. It just seems like they're kind of stagnant, and that bumper spot necessarily isn't working. They're not getting the puck to Tage on the half wall like they used to. Obviously, I think teams are kind of shading over there and trying to prevent that one-timer, which obviously they should. But they need to do something different. A friend of mine brought up rolling the lines maybe. It seems like there's some chemistry with the lines during the game, maybe just like doing that on the power play rather than having a power play unit, because that top unit, with as much skill as there is, they're not doing anything. Yeah. So got to figure something out there, but bright side penalty kill is amazing.
Yes. Great 200-foot game today. by the team, Casey Middlestat has become a complete player from Richard Isaacs. Yeah, I mean, we talk about Casey a lot on this show. Like 2 years ago, I was one of those guys. I wanted him gone. And it wasn't because of skill. It wasn't because of ability. It was always because I just felt like he wasn't taking the game seriously enough in terms of building up his size and his body and his strength. Because he would, as great as he is with the puck, as great of a shot as he has, as great as his playmaking ability was, he just got knocked off the puck constantly. He just wasn't strong enough. And the past, 2 seasons, he's completely been a different player. Like the guy has, I'd say he put on at least 15 pounds of muscle at the very least, and just is a bear on the puck now. Like, you just don't knock him off the way you used to. And I'm pleasantly delighted, and I love to see him be a part of the long-term solution to this team.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely going to get a contract after this year. He's a restricted free agent, but they're going to work something out, some type of bridge deal. I could see him coming in at like $5-6 million. He is absolutely a part of the future of this team. You saw him in the third period. He's so strong on the puck. You cannot knock him off. He's great on the boards. And his shot, of course, he's not known for scoring goals, but that goal he scored today, looking off the pass, it was a 3-on-1, and then he snipes it short side.
Yeah.
Over Grigoriev's blocker in a way that, that you don't beat NHL goalies like that. I think he was cheating a little bit, so that at least factored into it. I think he was upset with himself for that goal. I think every goalie would be. But at the same time, it's a really, really good shot. And it's a smart play to take that shot, because in the past, you would see him try to make that pass and it get deflected or broken up. But now that he has confidence in the strength and the ability to take that shot, it's really, really good that he's at this level.
He has such a good shot, man.
Yeah, and he doesn't do it often. I think through 8 games, 8 games, guess how many shots on goal he has?
15.
9.
Oh.
He has 9 shots on goal. Or maybe it's a little bit more. Is that
updated for today's game?
So 5, 6, 7, 9. Oh, sorry. He's got 12. Either way, because he had 3 shots today. 12 shots on goal through 8 games isn't that many for a player of his caliber. I think he needs to shoot more. I really do.
Shooter's mentality, just like on that 2-on-1 with Benson. He looked off Benson, played it perfectly, and just zipped it right over Georgiev's shoulder.
We've said it for a while with him. He's always been a pass-first guy. He is a playmaker, and that was the book on him coming out. But now that he's gotten stronger, he's gotten more confident, he's faster, he's creating more space for himself in the offensive zone. He's going to have so many more opportunities like that, and he needs to take them. He already has, I think he has 3 goals this season. No, that's his second. Either way.
Oopie finally gets a shutout and deserves it. And now if he can stay healthy, we just talked about that. Yep. Consistency is key with him, as is any goalie, but him especially. I can't wait to hear what Sneejo has to say. Probably nothing. Dude hates UPL too much to be on the radio.
Let's see what he said.
Huh?
Let's see what he said today. Maybe it was something positive.
Duane, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I feel the Sabres play way better on the alternate. Yeah, you're not wrong. It is a thing now. It happens way too often for it to not be a thing. And it doesn't matter who the opponent is, apparently. Good or bad, Sabres win. Ubi deserves what he got in this game. UPL plays a lot. Plays like this a lot. UPL plays like this a lot, but the team can put full 60 together can people learn punctuation? I can't read these goddamn sentences.
I got it. UPL deserves what he got in this game. UPL plays like this a lot, but the team can put a full 60 together tonight. # permanent Goatheads 2024.
Yes.
It's not as bad as you thought it was.
I can't.
You're also not the best reader.
No. I think I'm a decent reader. I personally love the Goathead jersey, but I know there are haters of that sweater.
Who hates it?
I don't know who could have possibly.
I've never heard a single person.
If you win with it, then it should be a permanent fixture at home games. I agree. If they win in the slug jersey, I'm all for it.
I
don't even care.
I haven't heard a single person that hates that jersey.
Either have I. Are the Goatheads are permanent thirds? Yes, they are.
Permanent thirds, but they need to be the permanent home jersey.
Yes, agreed. Was it me, or did Samuelson have less shifts in the third from Richard Isaac?
Puck off the head.
The puck off the head. I wouldn't be surprised if they just held them back a little bit there. Not surprising at all. That looked brutal, man.
I mean,
that was a hard shot.
He cannot catch a break.
No, but you want to know what, man? That he clearly hit the side of the helmet, luckily, because I mean, if he takes that to the side of the face or the side of the head, dude, he's out an extended amount of time.
For sure. Yeah. And I mean, we didn't see too much of him tonight, but I thought Jacob Bryson looked good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I mean, when you don't hear a thing, it's usually a good thing, right?
That play in the third period, where he shouldered off the guy and then did the Patrick Kane spinorama.
Yep.
They were talking on the broadcast that he doesn't want to be as nice of a guy this year. He wants to be a little bit more meaner and more physical. And I don't necessarily know if that's possible given how small he is, but his biggest asset is his skating. So I was going to look this up earlier, but I forgot. Was there a ruling on Connor Clifton?
He got 2 games.
2 games?
I think it was 2. I think.
Jesus fucking Christ.
I agree. He did apologize after. Said that obviously he wasn't intending to hit him up high like that. It's just kind of an unfortunate situation. I believe it was 2 games. Somebody in the comments can. I'm looking up right now. I'm pretty sure. I'm double checking. It was 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, with a hit to the head like that, they're going to emphasize that, and it is what it is. But
2 game suspension.
An injury to Samuelson. Hopefully, it's not too serious, and they've got a couple days off here because you worry about like a concussion in that type of situation. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the defense largely is just playing better in general. Dahlin looked amazing again tonight. Extended his point streak to, I think it's 8 games now. Yeah. He's had a point in every single
5
game.
5 points in 8 games.
He's had a point every game this season aside from the opener. Mm-hmm. So I said it earlier. I think he is an early top 3 Norris Trophy candidate.
Well, now they're 4 and 5 right now, correct?
Yeah. So they played 9 games. He's got an 8-game point streak.
Yeah. So panic button. Everybody was pressing it a few games ago. I wasn't.
After the Canadiens game, it didn't look good, obviously. So
5 and 5, potential of being 5 and 5 after 10. I'm completely fine with it.
Of course,
especially with the progress they've shown against the better teams like Colorado, like Ottawa, even that last game where obviously things went south after the Comrie injury. Like for me, they showed good things.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we said, their past 5 games, they could be 5-0 with a couple better bounces. So I think they try to keep this momentum going. You get 2 games against the Flyers and then the Maple Leafs, who are off to a really, really good start.
I love this from earlier. No, don't go there, Connor. Size will not affect Levi's play. Yes, he has some weaknesses, but his ability to focus and overcome his weaknesses are what will push him above.
Let me respond here. I think when I mentioned that originally, that is the knock on every small goalie, right? Like I know it as a small goalie.
Yeah,
like the reputation around the league is that you have to be 6 foot or above to play. And the reason he wasn't as lauded of a prospect as other guys are like coming up at his age is because of his size. But that does not preclude him, or that does not exclude him from being a good NHL goalie. He plays bigger than his size. He's aggressive. He's athletic. He obviously has a really, really good mental game. So those things are way more important than size. I have no issue whatsoever with the fact that he's a smaller goalie. You see UC Saros, how good he is. You've seen what Marc-Andre Fleury has done throughout his career. Even going further back, Mike Richter, Grant Fuhr. There have been smaller goalies that have been successful in the NHL, but it really just depends on your overall physical toolkit, not just your height. So if it was misconstrued, me being concerned about his size, I'm sorry, but that's not what I'm concerned about.
Yeah, I'm not too concerned about the size either. And here's the difference between Levi and UPL. Consistency is a part of UPL's problem, but the other thing is Levi can play when there is chaos. UPL needs to have a structured defense such as today.
That's true.
Yeah, that is very true. I've said it a couple times, and like I'm actually texting with Gregory Ballack actually as we're talking right now from In Goal Magazine, and he flat out says, and he actually points to that save I brought up earlier about how his size helps. It was an advantage. I'll see if I can bring this picture up. But he said, how does my 6'5" brother end up looking like this on a tip play from a pass on his blocker side? He's literally over far on his almost on his glove side when he makes the save. Like it was like literally right at the start of the second period. And he was pushing over aggressively, and his size saved him because of his length, of his width, and his and obviously, like, just overall his body, is I'm so terrible at like articulating this, but his size saved him there. But to Craig's point,
so the thing is, it can help, right? Like if you just think of it from a common sense perspective, if you take up more of the net, then you're going to be less likely to potentially let in goals. But it doesn't matter if you don't have the positioning. It doesn't matter if you don't respond well to bad goals, which we've seen throughout his career. So he needs to put it all together, and as we said, be consistent for the first time in his career. So I think he's played what? I think today was his like 42nd or 40, somewhere in the 40s. He has NHL starts. As he gets past his 50th start and gets to the point where he's not this young goalie anymore. He's a 6'5" athletic freak, as we said, of course, coming off double hip surgery, but it seems as though the team has given him a clear bill of health. As you said, it might affect his longevity, right? Because like that's a really tough surgery for a goalie to have. But hopefully modern medicine is good enough that he can just be normal from now on. He can figure it out. And as we saw today, he can be a starting goalie in the NHL. But he's going to have to prove it on a game-to-game basis.
From NZ Sabres guy, Sabres keep winning when they wear the black goat heads.
12-1-1.
Yes, sir. Last of the party. Good for you, PL. Hope this shuts up the Gibson Quick loss.
I mean, I don't think anyone loves Quick.
I mean, as a backup to Levi, I could have. Didn't he have a shutout the other night?
He might have, but I'm
pretty sure he did.
Okay, regardless, he's over the hill.
Yeah, but I mean, as a mentor, we talk about Marc-Andre Fleury too.
For sure. I don't. Gibson, yes. I think Gibson.
And I think I think with when you have a goalie the size of Levi and you're looking for somebody who can mentor him, provide some type of guidance. Johnny, I don't think choice
for sure. But if you're trading for a goalie, I think it's for someone that can come in and win you games. You're not trading you're not trading for a mentor. Like you have a goalie coach, you have like Craig Anderson in the building. I just think that John Gibson is still a good idea, in my opinion. Like he's got at least 5 good years left in the league. I think Jonathan Quick was potentially over the hill 2 to 3 years ago. So I think
I just want to say Jonathan Quick 2-0 with a shutout.
Yeah, I mean he's on the Rangers now, right?
Yep.
Well, they're a really good team. As we saw against us opening night, their defensive system is pretty good.
Yes, it is. It is very goalie beneficial now.
Yeah.
In Madison Square Garden.
I mean, I would love a resurgence from Jonathan Quick. He's one of my favorite goalies.
He's my favorite goalies too.
He's one of my favorite goalies ever. He's a legend out here in LA.
Yeah.
But that was in 2012 and 2014. So
Bryson was good. I blast him, but he was actually physical today for a change. Yeah, he was. Like to your point earlier, like, when you don't hear a player's name a lot, that's usually a good thing, at least on the defensive side of things.
Yeah.
Like people say that about cornerbacks. Football. When you don't hear their name called a lot, it's usually a good thing. It's because the opponent isn't throwing at them. Same thing can be said about a defenseman. Like if you're not hearing their name a lot, it's usually a good thing. Hurls, were you under a rock? They announced Clifton yesterday.
Yes, I was.
I love this win for 6-17. Woo. Yeah, agreed. Was it Eric Johnson and Yost? Great games. With this team, I wouldn't be so certain we will be okay. Hopefully we will be okay, but everything has fallen into place. No injuries, good goaltending, scoring, and actually playing some defense. Agreed, Dylan. Crossing my fingers for Levi to come back okay soon. I think he and UPL could get on a tandem roll, 100%. Bulldog was calling for Quick in the offseason. Yeah, again, I wouldn't have been against it. I mean, right now with what we just saw from UPL, I'm fine with Levi and UPL, but that's if you get that from UPL on a consistent basis. Can we give JJ Peterka some love? He has been amazing. He's on a 30 plus goal pace right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be hard to sustain just given he doesn't get that many opportunities. But at the same time, he was with Jeff Skinner and Casey Middlestat today. Yes. So as they continue to roll these lines a little bit, and when Jack Quinn comes back, I do think they will put Quinn back with Cousins and Peterka. And we saw how good that line was last season. But yeah, his start to the year has been amazing. I don't know if too many people watched the World Championships this past spring, but he was the best player. He was the best player in the tournament. And that was with a lot of NHL guys playing. His speed, obviously, is his biggest asset. And he's the fastest player on the ice most nights, which doesn't always matter if you can't take advantage of it. But he's actually getting to the net, especially early on in games. He scored the first goal, I think, 3 separate times. So, and we know how big getting the first goal is for this team. We mentioned it last show. They are able to play such a different game, and the other team has to play a different game if the Sabres score first. They need to continue to emphasize starting fast, just like the Bills did the other night. They can play a different game when they start fast, and they need to do that moving forward.
Let me see here. Joseph and EJ definitely had money on the board. They might have. They did have great games. With obviously kind of revenge games.
Wait. What type of money are we talking about?
You know what? When you play against your former team,
yeah,
money on the board.
Money. What does money on the board mean?
What is it again? I think they buy dinner or something like that.
Okay.
I can't remember
because I'm a little bit traumatized given the 41 game suspension from Shane Pinto this week.
Oh, dude, that's nuts. By the way,
no. I thought that meant that they basically were betting on themselves.
No. It's a term used in the locker room when your former team comes. You play them.
Yeah. In that case,
by the way, that Shane Pinto thing. Don't get me wrong. If he's betting on sports when he's not supposed to be, depending on, we never really got any transparency on what he was betting on.
The weird part is that they said there was no evidence that he was betting on hockey, but NHL players are allowed to bet on other sports.
Yes.
So it seems like a hypocritical situation. If he wasn't betting on hockey, then what was he betting on that was illegal that caused him to have a 41 game suspension?
I think it's hypocritical based on the fact that at every turn, whether it's during the intermission, the pregame, the postgame, they are pushing the betting narrative on the fans left and right, and even advertising equipment.
You can't have players betting on NHL games.
No. You can't. 100% you can't. But in terms of on other sports, how can that's ridiculous.
That's not what he got suspended for.
No, well, we don't know what he got.
So my theory is that he used his influence in the NHL to either help somebody, or it was a bookie or someone else ratted him out. He didn't necessarily bet on NHL games himself, but an insider trading type situation. It feels like that's what it is. He used, even though he didn't bet on the NHL game himself, he used his influence to help someone else make money or lose money or what have you. That's what I think what happened. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that is the case. Moving on, obviously, we had a tragic death overseas. Yet last night it was announced that was it Adam Johnson?
Yeah,
Adam Johnson took and we know about this all too well here in Buffalo. It's happened twice to Clint Malarchuk, obviously before any of us can remember. Most of us can remember, but and then Richard Zednik from the Florida Panthers, a game that I was present for. He tragically passed away after sustaining a cut to the neck from a skate blade. Playing in England, was it?
Yeah.
England, yes. So, thoughts and love out to him and his, because that's tragic. And it brings up the discussion for wearing those slash guards, neck and wrist guards. Yeah. Definitely something that should be looked into.
It doesn't look good aesthetically. No. It doesn't probably feel good for the players, but I think we're at a point with technology and production and everything else, that they could find a happy medium that would at least reduce the likelihood of this happening, right?
Yep.
Like, my biggest fear playing hockey, even to this day, is getting cut by a skate blade. Like the Clint Malarchuk thing really, obviously it was before my time, but I've seen the 30 for 30 short that they did on that and how much it affected his life.
Yep.
And obviously the Richard Zegnet situation. It happened to an OHL goalie a couple of years ago, actually. He got a skate blade to his thigh.
Niagara, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. Another Western New York connection. It's really scary. And that actually caused me to research getting these like spandex that have like extra thigh protection, because like goalies' thighs are exposed, and so is your neck. And I wear this crazy neck guard every game, so there's no part of my neck that's exposed.
Yeah, it makes me want to actually go and invest in a new dangler. Because
I gotta get one too.
Yeah, but here's the book, Matter of Inches by Clint Malarchuk. He's been on our show a couple times. Great read, very eye-opening on what he went through, not just growing up before the injury, but after the injury, and like how, bipolar and I believe is the different behavior and mental diseases he ended up being diagnosed with, how they affected his life and the PTSD from the injury, and how he was just undiagnosed and not medicated correctly, and how much better of a life he's leading now and more healthy of a life he's leading now because he's been properly diagnosed. But yeah, it's just a very scary situation. And as bad as I feel for his family and those who loved him, I also feel bad for the other players involved in the incident, because you're going to carry some of that on your conscience for a long time.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, obviously
you're going to have those idiots online who are going to blame you, find ways to blame you. Like it's your fault.
I mean, I would hope that whoever was involved in it doesn't read that type of stuff. Of course, it wasn't intentional. It was a freak accident. I would encourage everybody to not watch the video. I unfortunately came across the video on my timeline this morning, and it's traumatic to say the least. So, you don't need to see it.
Yeah.
From someone who saw it, there's no reason to watch it.
I saw Richard Zednik live, man, and like I can't believe they finished playing a hockey game after that. I'm, happy that
it brings you to Damar Hamlin. It brings you to other very serious, very scary injuries in sports, and that's the dark side of sports. You know that this can happen. It could have happened in the Sabres Avalanche game today. You never know. So I hope it's an NHLPA thing. I hope it's a discussion with the NHL, because there's no other sport where there's literal knives being worn by the players. And
great comment here from Gar. Again, hope this shuts up the advocates for kicking the puck and not being allowed. Yeah, I 100% agree. As a goalie, that's a scary thing, man. I've been actually kicked in the head before, and the head's pretty damn close to your neck. It's not, no.
I'm actually very surprised this doesn't happen more often.
Yeah. Knock on wood, because I have a game tonight. I don't want to think about that, but
I know, but you know what I mean, though. Like,
yeah,
I protected myself when I played, to the point because I'm actually scared about it. Like, it's something that like you have to think.
We're sitting here talking about it. I'm kind of scared to even go play hockey tonight now.
No, you have to think about it, right? Like, I got the most protective neck guard I could possibly have, and as you mentioned, I haven't had the dangler in a while. I'm gonna get one, because the extra protection and the peace of mind that it gives you is so paramount.
We got a listener from the UK. Okay. There's currently a petition over here in the UK for compulsory neck guards in the EIHL after this. Well, thanks for listening in, Steve, for all the way from the UK. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like, hopefully a situation like this, as with Damar Hamlin, like putting AEDs in schools across the country and having an AED at every single football game and trained medical staff that knows how to handle that type of situation. I'm sure there were very, very competent medical professionals at that game last night that were not able to save Adam Johnson's life.
Yeah.
So you can only do so much.
You can't prepare yourself for stuff like that.
No, I'm sure.
I saw people criticizing the referee for not like doing a better job at like stopping the blood loss. Like, well, you're not prepared for something like that. Like,
I mean, They're not trained medical professionals. Like that's not on the refs.
Well, like here's an idea though, and here's an idea that's maybe that's something at the professional level. Maybe referees start going through is like maybe you put them through certain types of training course. Like, hey, on the off chance this happens, your quick response could be, this isn't me blaming the ref at all. It's not his fault.
Yeah, I mean,
no.
But that's
what I'm saying is that could be something that maybe the NHL could look into too.
That's as simple as, not to be too gory, but shoving your fingers into the cut.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the biggest thing for me is just it's extra protection. Like wear neck guards. You're not going to take skate blades away, right? So you gotta figure something out, because of course this doesn't happen often, but the worst thing in the world wouldn't be having an extra layer of protection for the exposed arteries on your body. So, rest in peace, Adam Johnson.
Yes, rest in peace, Adam. Terrible. Also, rest in peace, Matthew Perry. Last night, obviously announced Friends star. Obviously from many different things, but most notably known from the show Friends. Tragically passed away.
Big Ranger fan on that show.
Yep, big hockey fan, big advocate for the sport. Guy battled his demons throughout his life with addiction. For right now, at least what I'm hearing is he had a heart attack in his hot tub. At least that's what I've heard.
TMZ, the company I work for, reported there were prescriptions found in his home. No one really knows, and it's going to be a situation where like he was in his hot tub and he passed out, and it could have been a variety of different things, right? So
yeah, I've seen a number of things. I thought I heard the initial like report from the police was they didn't find any like drugs present near him or anything to say it was foul play. Not that we should be getting into the reason why, more or less celebrating the life. But last night I was at Fatty Beer Company in Lancaster. My buddy Greg was bartending, and that was announced. And Tim Britt, who is a local musician in the area, he played the Friends theme song almost right away, and the whole place was popping, celebrating Matthew Perry's life. I was never a big guy, like a big Friends guy. Like I liked the show, but like I watched shows like Seinfeld, Boy Meets World, Home Improvement, amongst other shows. Like I was more along the lines of like shows like that, 2.5 Men, than I was with the like show Friends, but I did like it. It stinks because I think people would always hold out hope that maybe someday they'll get the band back together and do a reboot or something like that, or some type of spinoff. Obviously that's completely out of the question now, but Matthew Perry was a guy who, as you said, loved the game of hockey, was an amazing actor for all intents and purposes, seemed like an amazing human being. And it sucks. It definitely sucks. The world lost a great actor, a great talent. And hopefully those who care and love him are okay right now.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
Peace, Matthew Perry. One last comment from Gar. Wouldn't a thick turtleneck kind of fabric be helpful? At least wear one tonight, Duane. Yeah, I'm glad Gar is looking out for me. Thinking about it. But yeah, with that being said, any final thoughts, Earls, as we head into
just getting back to the Sabres? Massive win. As we talked about UPL a lot, and we're going to need them these next few games, obviously with Devin Levi's near future in question. And
they hope he's actually back on the ice on Tuesday. That's what they said.
All right. Well, hopefully he's improving. Obviously, Eric Comrie seems like he's going to be out at least a few weeks. So, yeah, big opportunity for him. Obviously, a great game tonight. I think the team in general played a great game. I would hope that they would have won despite the jersey that they were wearing. But as of now, this jersey is almost undefeated. So I think they lean into it as much as they can, even if that means wearing it more than 15 times this season. I feel like they could arbitrarily just be like, oh, yeah, let's just keep wearing it if they get on a run, right? So I don't know. I think most fans would really like that. And, yeah, as you said, through 10 games, if the team is 5-5, especially after that slow start. I think everyone's going to be really happy with that. And then you get into the first quarter of the season, 21 games, and then you continue to improve. But the defense has been better. The offense is coming along. Obviously, really strong performances from JJ Peterka and Casey Middlestat. And I think Alex Tuck is finding his game a little bit more as we continue to go on in this season, and that's really encouraging. So
said, let the guy play through it. He'll figure it out.
Hey, congratulations. I was pissed.
But yeah, we will see you on Wednesday for the start of the home and home against the Flyers. Might record in between now and then. I have some interest from both Arda O'Kale from ESPN and Gregory Ballard from Gold Magazine might hop on with us. So we'll keep you updated on that. But with that being said, this has been another winning edition of I'll Hang Up and Listen, brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on George Urban Boulevard. Make sure you let them know two goalies when Mike sent you for all your Sabres game day, game night, and Bills game day needs. Actually, mostly Bills game night needs, right? They're playing nothing but evening games from here on out, pretty much, right?
Yeah, Sunday night football next week against the Bengals. There's not a Sunday at 1 p.m. game until New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so. But we'll talk to you guys later. As always, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.
Go Sabres.